Welcome to Friday Fraud Law Review. It is also Red Friday, and for those that care to, I'd like to take a little note of remembering our deployed military members who can't be at home like most of us can. So if anyone wants to share that moment with me, please do, and enjoy the video. Bye-bye now. Fraud Law Review, it's Friday. Hi, everybody. And it is also Red Friday. So, you know me, I want to remember our deployed military members who are not fortunate enough to be home with their families, unlike most of us. Okay, this one's kind of a doozy. And I think some of you who are like, why don't you tell more about Social Security employees committing fraud instead of just regular people? And I do whenever I see them. Okay, just remember there's less of them, so there's going to be less bad eggs than there is in the entire 370 million people, if you want to add in all the people that aren't supposed to be here. Um, so there's obviously going to be more in numbers of the other bad actors, but we do have the employees at times doing things. So let's hop to it. This is published by the Social Security Administration's Office of Inspector General. I do like to see these things because I like to see that they are succeeding in catching these criminals. Okay, so this fellow has been found guilty, so I don't have to protect his name out of my immense respect for the law of not guilty. To not, you have to be proven guilty before you lose your innocence, so to speak. So here is Christopher Markham, age 40. So decently young person, not super young, but in my mind, it's young, way younger than myself. This is in Indiana, guys, Westfield. Uh, you know me, I'm going to think he got a light sentence because everybody gets light sentences now. This is a very weak consequences society we live in, which is probably why people keep doing the crimes they keep doing. He's been sentenced to a mere 2 years of probation and has been ordered to pay nearly $50,000 in restitution after pleading guilty to wire fraud. But I think it's more interesting than that. So let's get into it. He is a former Social Security Administration employee. So let's hop to it. According to court documents, Mr. Markham was employed by the SSA and assigned to an office in Anderson, Indiana. Maybe some of you folks know him. Between February of 2019 and June of 2022, he engaged in a scheme by which he made it to appear as though he was teleworking full-time for the SSA during workdays, when in reality, he was earning income working as a home inspector for his personal business. This is pathetic. You know why I think this is pathetic of him? Teleworking is such a blessing for so many people for a ton of reasons. And I would like to say that the vast, vast, vast majority do the work and in fact, and probably get more work done teleworking than going into the office with all those many distractions. Not to mention, for those that are very into being green and the environment and climate change and all this business about emissions, teleworking prevents the need for driving a car, using electricity if you have an EV, or using gasoline if you don't. So and not to mention the reduction in stress by not having to commute. There's so many win-wins here. And the federal government could sell off some of its buildings and not need so much bloody space to house perhaps an overswamped, and not the SSA being overswamped, but in general, the federal government, their overswamped workforce, where there's too many chefs in the tiny little kitchens, many of which don't have much to do. So I have a problem with someone abusing the teleworking system because he is screwing over many, 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 many people that are working people that would otherwise perhaps be able to do it, or, adding to the false notion that people take advantage. Because while some people do, like particularly Mr. Markham, well, let's go into it, but you get my point, right? I really detest this because teleworking is great for so many people. I've been teleworking for, how old am I? At least 25 years, at least. I did it when nobody was doing it. I did it. I remember trying to convince law firms back when I was probably around the age of 30, uh, that they should start hiring remote lawyers. Like their staff can be remote. Oh my God, you'd think I was like from outer space. And I would be like, but I do it and it works. We have internet. It all works really well. And that was when it was far less sophisticated than it is now. There was this, but it probably was far more costly. Um, but anyway, my colleagues have gotten on board since then and since COVID. But little do they know, we were doing this for decades. Sometimes it takes the individuals, I think, to step out and do things because those big dinosaur law firms, they have a real hard time changing. They're very stuck in their ways. Of course, their ways might make for more billable hours because things take longer. So those paying billable hours, sorry for that. Okay, so this fellow was working as a home inspector while pretending to be teleworking. Wow. He was paid his full federal salary and benefits while concealing the fact that he was working for his personal business and not for SSA, presumably during the hours he was supposed to be teleworking. Obviously, if he was doing home inspection at night or on weekends, this wouldn't be an issue. I power to you. Power to you for doing more. So apparently he routinely performed home inspections for his personal business during the work week while purporting to telework on official SSA time. I'm wondering if this is going to be a theft of federal property because those paychecks are being stolen. He concealed the fact that he was not performing the work, the SSA work, during official hours by having his wife and his mother access the SSA computer system and send emails to supervisors to make it appear he was online and working. Oh my God. Sorry, this is really bad. He nevertheless sought to be paid in full during this period and submitted 53 fraudulent time reports to the SSA's online timekeeping portal, as well as falsified daily work logs to his supervisors. Also, he engaged in other fraud schemes to obtain emergency paid leave by falsely claiming he was required to stay home to take care of his children. In fact, his children were in daycare. And he was again performing work for and earning income from his personal business. He allegedly performed at least 70 home inspections for his personal business while claiming to be providing emergency care for his children. Wow. He had a pretty jamming home inspection business. Wow. Finally, and that's just the ones that he did when he claimed he needed emergency care for his children. So that would maybe be a little bit of that. Is that FMLA? Maybe when you have to take care of your dependents, like for their medical or children obviously need care. And that he said emergency care. Finally, on multiple occasions, Mr. Markham fraudulently claimed benefits under the Family and Medical Leave Act. There we go, FMLA, by falsely claiming he was unable to work due to illness when he was actually doing home inspections for his personal business. Wow. So he didn't even take a sick day, which he could have taken. And then you do whatever you want, presumably. Wow, he actually filed for FMLA. He even attended an FC Tucker retreat promoting his business while claiming he was on FMLA leave. On June 4th and 5th, 2020, he was granted administrative leave after claiming that the internet wire to his home had been cut. He advised that his internet provider would not be able to send anyone to his home to repair the wire until Friday the 5th. In reality, his internet provider had no record of damaged wire, and Markham used the administrative leave to take an unapproved paid vacation to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. In total, his fraudulent conduct caused a loss to the SSA of approximately $49,000 and change, which he has been court ordered to repay. His failure to perform his duties caused needy members of the public to have their Social Security benefits delayed, including people with autism, blindness, and end-stage cancer. Then they go on to talk about blah, blah, blah. Teleworking and emergency leave policies exist to provide needed flexibility and support to hardworking federal employees, not to supplement the incomes. Yeah, we know that. Wow. All right. So given that, guys, what do you think of the sentence? 2 years of probation in order to pay back the 50 grand, nearly 50 grand in restitution. My guess is one of the parents needs to be working. I'm thinking this is why they did this, because what he did was really bad in more ways than one. I'm thinking it's because someone has to stay home with the children, because even with daycare, they've been doing daycare. I don't know. I think it's a very light sentence. That's the only thing I can think of that would be remotely, potentially understandable. Like the children need care. Apparently they're in daycare, but maybe without him working, he can't afford the daycare on just mom's salary. That wife, I mean, she probably knew about it. Not saying she did. She might not have. And particularly if she's a working person and very busy herself with how many kids? 4. Uh, but if she didn't, she's got to be really, really angry. I hope they can survive it for the sake of their children. Okay, that's it. Indianapolis. There you go. Bad actor. Bye now.